Hello, micro students. I would like to review in this homework assignment the monopolistic competition from 4.4. You have seen this before, but as we get ready for the AP exam, it would be good to go over it one more time and just practice a quick review to get ready for FRQs in class. So you can open up the practice 4.4 from Google Classroom that we did, about 2 weeks ago. Or just follow along here and complete the assignment and review the practice 4.4 old slides later. Up to you. Okay. All right. So the key tip here is that monopolistic competition, it's kind of a in-between of perfect competition, which you learned in Unit 3, and monopoly. And so, of course, the main key takeaway with perfect competition was that you have really identical products like strawberries or cucumbers. And if you go into the market as a strawberry farmer, a seller, then you're going to take the price that you can get. You are a price taker as a firm when there's perfect competition. Whereas with monopoly, you're the only game in town. You are a price maker at that point. So monopolistic competition is kind of in between. So if we look at the characteristics of monopolistic competition, it's a little different. So as you prep for the AP exam, be sure that you just kind of, take a quick snapshot of these in your brain and just understand how you go from perfect competition to pure monopoly along the scale of the markets. So with a monopolistic competition, you have a large number of sellers. The products are different, though. They're not identical, like in perfect competition. You do have some control over price, but it is still easy to get into the market. So examples would be fast food restaurants, furniture companies, jewelry stores, hair salon, clothing manufacturers. If you wanted to open up your own shoe store, all of that would be examples of monopolistic competition. So looking at where monopolistic competition comes from, it's where you look at a monopoly and you add in that there is some competition. So like, let's say perhaps you are the only game in town. You're the only place that you could have a car wash, or the only place that sells shoes or something like that. But then other firms in the industry see that you're making a profit and they're like, hey, I want in on that. So they enter the market. And then of course we know what happens. It affects demand. And so we're going to look at that on a graph here. To see what happens in the short run and the long run as the industry looks at a monopoly, see that they're making money, and they're like, hey, I want in on that. One thing to remember is that different from perfect competition, where you have identical strawberries, nothing separates them. We have no idea where the sellers come from. We just are there to buy the strawberries, and we're not going to pay more than the grocery store next door. The difference with monopolistic competition is there is differentiated products. So we've talked a lot this year about the hand soap aisle and how it's hand soap. Hand soap is hand soap, but there's a million different, a million's exaggeration. You guys know how I say million all the time, but there's so many choices and they're not identical. The packaging can be different. The attributes, whether it's antibacterial or not, advertising, all of that affects these differentiated products that are in monopolistic competition. And there's a great visual for you. All right, so let's look at it for drawing. So what I want you to see is that in the short run, a monopolistically competitive graph is going to be a monopoly that's making a profit. So take away the monopoly, take away the profit, and what do we have? We have our downward sloping demand curve. We have our downward sloping marginal revenue. Our marginal costs intersect right there at MR equals MC. That is our profit maximization, just the same way. But the difference here is that there's a profit. There's a profit because our average total costs are they are lower than the price that we're charging for these products. So in the short run, a monopolistic competitive firm graph is the same as a monopoly making a profit. So when you come in on the next class and I say, all right, everybody get out a sheet of paper, draw a monopolistically competitive firm in the short run, you're going to draw it just like this. You're going to draw your monopoly, downward sloping demand curve, downward sloping marginal revenue curve, and a profit. Okay, so it has that profit. So what's going to happen in the profit? What's going to happen in the long run? Well, as you know, just like in perfect competition, if a firm is making a short run, if a firm is making a profit, what do other firms want to do? Other firms are looking at this firm and they're like, hey, they're making a profit. So what do they want to do? They want to go ahead and enter the market. So other firms enter the market. So now instead of just one seller in town, we now have 4 different sellers in town. So for each firm, or the firm that was existing there in the beginning that had that profit, what's going to happen? It's going to decrease demand. Why does demand decrease? Because there's multiple places to purchase. So you, me, the whole class, we're out spending our dollars. Well, we could go to any of the 4 places. So the original firm, their demand goes down. So look and see how I toggle this. This is our short run monopoly graph showing a profit, monopolistically competitive. Firms have entered, it's decreased demand all the way down until there's no economic profit. So firms enter until suddenly there's zero economic profit. Demand has decreased, marginal revenue has decreased, and now we have ATC hitting right where that demand line and the price is. So what's the key takeaway here? The price and quantity fall, total revenue equals total cost, there's no economic profit, and now we are in long run equilibrium. Okay, so at this point, rewatch this video as many times as you need to understand how the graph represents a monopolistically competitive firm, how it really begins as a monopoly in the short run, has a profit, firms enter, and now there is an adjustment to our graph in the long run. So watch this as many times as you need, and then move on to the practice assignment on your Google document. Bring that into class, and we're going to actually use it as a ticket to different groups. Depending how you answer it, you'll work on a variety of FRQs and then master along as you understand the concept more and more. So rewatch this as many times as you need. Check in with Review Econ. Check out some Clifford videos. And I will see you in class.